afternoon and welcome to the Midday News here on CNC3 and the TVC Radio Network. I am Bhavita Gopalchan. Thank you so much for joining us. Top of the news at this time. One man has been arrested following the tragic death of Angelica Jogi at Pigeon Point yesterday. The 7-year-old girl was struck by a jet ski while playing in the area designated for bathing with her parents and other relatives. She later died at the Scarborough General Hospital. Senior Superintendent Rodel Kirk told CNC3 News this morning that police have arrested a suspect and impounded the jet ski. Now asked whether the suspect surrendered, Kirk replied, "The police detained the suspect while investigations are ongoing." Yesterday, Chief Secretary Fali Augustine called on the jet ski operator to turn himself in.
The season is very short and it's not much business at this time, because in a few days' time you will have no one here. And these like 2-3 days again before things close, you know, because everybody will be going back to where the destiny where they come from, and it will be back to normal.
And the Tobago Hotel and Tourism Association is calling for a full investigation into the tragic incident resulting in the death of 7-year-old Angelica Jogi. The THTA says that there can be no compromise where designated safe zones are concerned. Reports have outlined that Angelica and her family were bathing in a designated swimming area where jet ski operations are not permitted. The association is expressing concern over the potential breach of park regulations and safety enforcement and is calling for stronger regulatory oversight, consistent enforcement, and clear operational controls across all marine and recreational spaces in Tobago. The THTA says it is willing to work with the Tobago House of Assembly, park management, and the relevant authorities to ensure that regulations are not only clearly defined but actively enforced. Foreign and CARICOM Affairs Minister Sean Sobers has fired back at Dr. Raul Gonzalez after the former St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister alleged that Sobers declined an invitation to the CARICOM retreat in Nevis, citing seasickness. Government maintains Minister Sean Sobers was deliberately excluded from the Nevis retreat and barred from the process to reappoint Dr. Carla Barnett. But Dr. Raul Gonzalez contends Sobers opted out, citing reluctance to travel by boat. Speaking with CNC3 News this morning, Minister Sean Sobers said his remark about seasickness was a joke made the night before, stressing that he made it clear to CARICOM his intention to travel to Nevis after being left in charge of Trinidad and Tobago's delegation following the Prime Minister's departure. Well, Sobers maintains that it was CARICOM that told him the day of the trip that only heads of government would be allowed to go. The minister said Dr. Gonzalez peddled blatant lies and said it is not surprising, as he claimed the former Prime Minister has always had an issue with the United National Congress. Opposition Senator Dr. Amory Brown is calling for the resignation of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs Minister Sean Sobers, accusing him of misleading the country over this country's involvement in key regional decisions. At a media briefing today, Dr. Brown strongly criticized the government's handling of the process that led to the reappointment of Carla Barnett as Secretary General of CARICOM. Now, Dr. Brown argued that TNT has historically taken its regional responsibilities seriously, but claimed the current administration under Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar is pursuing what he described as, quote, anti-CARICOM agenda. Meanwhile, opposition MP Christian Birchwood is accusing government of failing to address what he describes as a worsening road safety crisis, calling for urgent and comprehensive action to protect motorists and pedestrians. Speaking at a PNM media conference this morning, Birchwood said the country's road safety situation has moved beyond a concern and is now a national crisis, arguing that policy decisions by the administration of Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar have weakened enforcement and failed to reduce accidents. He criticized the scaling back of the demerit point system, saying limiting it to only a handful of violations stripped it of its deterrent value. Now, the opposition MP also dismissed the government's decision to increase traffic fines, arguing that there has been no measurable improvement in road safety outcomes. Birchwood claimed that data available to the opposition shows a rise in serious accidents since the UNC took office. Well, with the purchase of 6 new fire tenders, head of the Fire Service Association, Kian Guy, says it is a step in the right direction. Guy says the fire service was long neglected and the appliances, which consist of 5 water tenders and a specialized heavy rescue vehicle, would bring the fire service back on track to its optimum potential. At a cost of $69 million, the tenders will be deployed across Pinal, Mayaro, Princestown, Point Fortin, as well as Tobago. Guy says the areas to be serviced can breathe a sigh of relief, adding that a lack of equipment contributed to the loss of life in the past.
I would point out that right in the Safari area, we had a fire that drew national attention, where we had the loss of life of the Morris family. There was a mother and daughter that lost their life not too far from the Pinal and Safari fire stations. At the time, however, those stations were without an appliance, and that may have contributed to that loss of life. So those communities have been neglected in many ways, certainly in firefighting capacity.
Guy adds that now that some areas are with tenders, it is time to provide the necessary protective gear for fire officers.
But I must say, however, that we believe that this ought to be just one step in the right direction. We believe that there should be a signal that government is committed towards ensuring that throughout the entire country, the fire services return to being able to deliver its services, to offer protection to its officers, which our obligation with the state, quite frankly, has not met over the past decade.
Well, during the handing over ceremony, Prime Minister Kamala Bissabi recalled losing all of her childhood memorabilia when her family's home was gutted. She said a lack of proper infrastructure in rural communities led to that, making the handover an emotional moment for her, in hopes that no other families suffered like hers did. On to some other news. Residents of Barataria and Aranguez ensured their voices were heard during a police town hall meeting in Aranguez last night. They raised concerns over police visibility and crime suppression in their communities. One resident, Mala Ramnath, during her contribution, referred to 2 recent instances of kidnapping in the district and called for a greater police presence, even suggesting that residents assist in repairing police vehicles to ensure patrols.
Seeing a police vehicle give a lot of comfort, a lot of safety. Also, foot patrols. It would be nice that maybe once a month that some foot patrol could happen.
In his response, Assistant Superintendent Shahid Ali of the Police Northeastern Division said specific instructions were given to officers to conduct both foot and mobile patrols, but vowed a more visible presence to ensure citizens' comfort.
We have transformed the division. If you look at the stats, we have almost surpassed each of our targets for the last year when compared to the previous year. Right? We do our best. The officers in Northeastern Division, Barataria Station, we do our best. Yes, with everything else, there are challenges, but we do our best.
Well, the officers also promised to work closely with the Aranguez residents through their station council and the various neighborhood watch initiatives to ensure faster response to emergencies. Let's take a short break. More news up ahead.
Can you do this?
With Alive multivitamins by Nature's Way, you won't be defined by time. You'll own every minute of it. Discover how you can age vibrantly with Alive.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry. Premier insurance coverage for less.
Welcome back in sports. Spanish coach Altier Valasante says Trinidad and Tobago footballers have talent. He says a problem with the football in this country lies with the infrastructure. Well, Valasante told CNC3's The Morning Shot that football is all over the place and needs to be better coordinated.
As a coach, and we have a really clear structure in youth development. Here is a bit strange how the structure is. It's not very clear. There are different parallel leagues with schools, with high school, with academies, and I think Trinidad and Tobago Federation should be taken care of, and in this case DNA is a real option to create this structure. This is the first year, but it's a very good initiative.
And coach of the Trinidad and Tobago track and field Carifta team, who returned home with their best medal haul since 2010, Michelle Allen Penny said the standard set by the N3As not only helped produce 35 medals in Grenada, but is also preparing the athletes for the World Junior Championships to be held in Oregon, United States later this year. Allen Penny was a guest on The Morning Shot earlier today.
The athletes were in high spirits and really, really enthusiastic and, bent on bringing home that medal for Trinidad and Tobago. As you know, relays have always been front and foremost for all our national track and field teams, and they were really excited and they worked really hard. They spent a lot of time together, so, in preparation for the Carifta Games. They were well prepared for it.
That's for sport. It's back to a break.
Jason has watched every World Cup from here, but not today. Because he made all his purchases with Visa and won a trip to the FIFA World Cup 2026. Whoever uses Visa most wins. Pay with Visa.
We are your one-stop, most convenient, most helpful, most caring community pharmacy. Our pharmaceutical services include dispensing medicines, repeat dispensing, clinical governance, but we also have a fully stocked convenience store featuring our refreshment aisle, grocery lane, personal care products, toys, pet supplies. We are most conveniently located out of the traffic, just 2 minutes off the highway in Heartland Plaza, in Deva Chaguanas. Contact us on 220-8705 or 470-5938 and visit us soon.
Looking for the ultimate gaming experience? Welcome to Phase 22 Gaming Lounge, where gamers of all ages come to play, compete, and have fun. Dive into your favorite games on PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, or race on our high-tech racing rigs. And experience the thrill of VR with PlayStation and Meta Quest. Our lounge is safe, comfortable, and perfect for everyone. When you're done, check out the latest gaming systems, accessories, and even Samsung and Apple phones. Visit us on the second floor of Gulf City Mall or call 786-2404 to book your gaming session today.
One of the main medical and social centers in Haiti has closed as healthcare workers strike over 15 months of unpaid wages. The shutdown follows 6 weeks of protests paralyzing emergency and maternity care in Haiti's northeast region. Staff, including those absorbed from U.S. aid programs in 2025, claim the Ministry of Health failed to formalize contracts or provide back pay. Well, the Haitian Times visited the center on Wednesday and found dozens of patients, including pregnant women, gathered outside of the closed hospitals. Now for the weather forecast, today we can expect generally sunny and breezy conditions with a few brief showers during the early afternoon. There is a low chance of moderate to heavy showers near hilly areas. The maximum forecast temperature is 32 degrees Celsius in Trinidad and 31 degrees Celsius in Tobago. Sea levels are moderate with waves rising up from 2 to 2.5 meters in open waters. Now there is a mild to moderate concentration of Sahara dust in the atmosphere, so be aware. Sensitive persons are advised to take all of the necessary precautions. Well, thank you so much for joining us for a look at the day's developments so far. We'll have these stories and so much more coming up for you in a Midday Newscast at 7 p.m. today. Until then, have a great day.
You're watching